The transport ship moved slowly through the floating pieces of broken metal. Captain Wu stood very still on the bridge. His hands held the rail tight. 3 days ago, someone sent out a call for help from this place. But this place was empty. No one should be here. "Do you see anything alive?" Wu asked. His voice was calm, but his heart beat fast. The woman at the scanner was named. Her fingers moved quick across the screen. "Yes, Captain. One life sign, it is weak. The readings are strange, not a grown, something smaller, maybe a young one." Wu looked at his first officer. The man's name was, he had scars on his face. He did not show fear. They were known by everyone in space. They were hunters, strong and dangerous. They had sharp teeth that could bite through metal. They fought to protect their land. Most people stayed away from worlds. Finding a young alone in space was something no one had seen before. "Get a team ready," Wu said. "Everyone wears full suits. We do not know what happened here." 1 hour later, Wu was floating inside the broken ship. His boots made loud sounds on the twisted metal. The hallways were dark. Only the lights from their suits showed the way. Dead bodies floated in the air. They were adults. Their scales looked dull and they had frozen in the cold of space. "Captain, over here." The voice came from Ensign. She was young and her voice shook a little. They found the young one in a special sleep room. It was small, maybe the size of a human child who was 6 years old. It was curled up like a ball. The scales were bronze color, not hard like adult scales. A blue light moved around the pod. This light was the only thing keeping the creature alive. "Bring the container," Wu said softly. "Be careful, even young ones are dangerous." They moved the sleeping youngling to the special box. Wu saw something that made his chest hurt. The creature held something in its small hands. The hands had claws. The thing it held was a data chip. People used these to save messages. Someone made sure this child would live. Someone gave up everything to give it a chance. Back on the ship called Mercy, the medical room became a safe place. Doctor was the ship's doctor who knew about alien life. She worked behind strong glass. The youngling stayed asleep. Its breathing was slow and quiet. "It has not eaten enough," said. Her dark eyes looked at the screens. "No water for a long time. It has been alone for 1 week, maybe more." The sleep pod kept it alive, but only just. "Will it live?" Wu asked. "The body will heal, yes, but need family. They do not live alone well. This one lost everyone." She stopped talking for a moment. "Captain, there is more. I checked the genes. This youngling is from the clan. They are one of the most dangerous families when it wakes up. It will be scared and dangerous." Wu finished her words. "Keep it asleep for now. I need to call the embassy. We need to know what to do." But no one answered his calls. The embassy did not respond. People who knew things told him in secret. They said the colony ship was sent away, thrown out. The leaders would not say why. This youngling had no family. Its own kind did not want it. 3 days passed. Then the drugs wore off. The youngling woke up. The medical bay filled with noise. The youngling woke with a scream. It was part hiss and part roar, a sound that made everyone afraid. It threw itself at the walls. Its claws scratched the clear wall. Deep marks appeared. "Put it to sleep again," Doctor shouted, but Wu held up his hand. "Wait," he said. He watched the youngling through the glass. It moved fast and wild, but not stupid. The creature's eyes were amber color with thin black lines in the middle. The eyes looked everywhere, at everything, at every danger. It was looking for something, for someone. After some time, the youngling became tired. It fell down in the corner. Its chest moved up and down fast. Then it made a sound that made all the humans stop. It was crying. The sound a child makes when it wants its mother. "Oh no," whispered. Her hand touched her mouth. Wu made a choice. "Open a small window, let it see us." "Captain, that is not safe." "Do it, Doctor." A small panel moved. The youngling's head turned fast. For a long time the human and the looked at each other. Wu kept his body relaxed, not threatening. He learned this in training. He did not smile. Showing teeth was a threat to most aliens, but he kept his eyes soft. The youngling hissed, then it turned away. It curled up in a ball again. Days went by, things got worse. The youngling would not eat. Doctor tried everything. She tried food paste. She tried raw meat. She even tried live food. Some crew members did not like that. The creature would walk to the food, it would smell it. Then it would go back to its corner. It was already thin. Now it got thinner. Its scales lost their shine. It is sad, told the senior officers in a meeting. Have something called clan bond. Food from outside the clan is bad, not safe. This is in their blood. It helps them survive. It stops other clans from poisoning them. So it will die before eating our food? Asked. He could not believe it. It is not a choice. Not really. It is instinct, showed charts on the screen. The clan was very strict about this. The youngling must believe we are not enemies, that we are something like family, or it will not eat. Wu leaned back in his chair. How do we do that? I do not know. Humans and are very different. They think we are weak, prey animals. No offense, Captain. None taken. Wu stood. He walked to the window. Below he could see the medical bay. The youngling lay still, barely breathing. Keep trying. I will not let a child die on my ship. That night Wu did something doctor said not to do. He ordered the cage opened. He stood in the medical bay, alone. The blue light turned off. The youngling lifted its head. Its eyes became thin and suspicious. Wu sat on the floor. He stayed far away. He put food between them, not food this time, human food, simple rice with vegetables and meat, the way his mother made it when he was young. The smell filled the room. The youngling's nose moved. It stood up slow. It moved like a hunter, careful and graceful. It stopped at the food, looked at it, then looked at Wu. Its lips pulled back. Many sharp teeth showed. It could be anger or confusion. I know you are scared, Wu said quietly. I know you miss your family. I know nothing makes sense now. He picked up some food with his hands. He ate it. Then he pushed the container closer. But you must eat, please. The youngling stared at him. A long time passed. Then it turned away. It went back to its corner. Wu sat there for 3 hours. He did not move, did not talk again. He just stayed. When he finally left, the food was still there. No one had touched it. Found Captain Wu late at night. He was in the observation deck. The time was 3 in the morning. He looked at the stars. He looked very tired. Dark circles were under his eyes. Captain, she said in a soft voice, you should rest. I cannot, he said. I keep thinking about that data chip, the one the youngling was holding. Doctor took the data from it. It is a message. From the youngling's mother, we think. Do you want to hear it? Wu nodded yes. Turned on her, a voice filled the room. It was harsh and rough. The language came through a translator machine. But under the strange sounds, the feeling was clear. This was a mother talking to her child. Little Flame, the voice started. The translator said this was a name of love. If you hear this, then I am dead. You are alone. The conclave says our clan is wrong. We would not follow the culling laws. We chose kindness over tradition. They will not help you, but know this. You are stronger than they think. You carry the fire of our ancestors, but you also carry something new, hope. Remember what I taught you. Strength is not only in claws, it is in the courage to trust, even strangers. Even those who are different. The message kept going. It told about the hibernation pod, technical things, then a final goodbye that made even cry. Find a new clan, Little Flame, one that will see you as a child, not as a weapon. Survive, please survive. The message ended. Wu stood quiet. His hands were fists at his sides. The mother wanted change, said quietly. I did research. The clan split 5 years ago. They fought about ideas. Half wanted the old ways, conquest, taking land, killing weak younglings. The other half wanted peace. They wanted to join with other planets. This ship was from the peace group. And they were hunted, Wu said. His voice was angry. We cannot prove it, but the broken pieces show weapon fire. Weapons. Wu turned to her. That youngling is the last one alive. Its whole family was killed. The next morning, Wu went back to the medical bay. He had a new plan. She was the youngest crew member, only 20 years old. She carried food. This time it was both human and food mixed together. The youngling watched them come in. Its body was ready to fight, but weaker than before. It was running out of time. It was dying. "Why me, sir?" had asked when Wu told her to come. "Because you are honest," he said. "No tricks, no lies. If anyone can reach that child, it is you." They sat down together. This time Wu spoke in. His translator helped him make the right sounds. "Your mother," he started. The youngling's head snapped toward him. Its eyes went wide. "She left you a message. She said to find a new clan, one that would see you as a child, not a weapon." He pointed then to himself. "We do not have scales or claws. We are not, but we are here, and we are not leaving you." The youngling made a sound, a broken, choked noise. "We cannot replace your clan," Wu kept talking. "But maybe we can be something. Maybe we can be enough, just enough to keep you alive, until you are strong enough to choose your own path." Picked up some food. It was called. She ate it herself. Then she pushed the tray forward. "Try again," she said in Korean. Her voice was gentle. "Please try again." The translator changed her words too. Something in the words, or maybe the sound, made the youngling move. It crept forward, slow, shaking. It reached the food. It sniffed. Then for the first time it picked up a small piece of food. It ate. The piece was tiny, almost nothing, but it was enough. The youngling ate another piece, then another. It got braver, smiled. Tears ran down her face. Wu felt something tight in his chest let go. "Good," he whispered. "That is good." From that day, things changed. The youngling started eating every day, but it was still careful, still watching. Doctors saw its health get better, but more important, it started to be curious. It would watch the humans through the glass. It would tilt its head when they talked. It would copy their movements in small ways. Said they should give it a name. "We cannot keep calling it the youngling," he said at a meeting. "Do not name their young until the first hunt," said. "Then we do it the human way," Wu decided. He thought about the mother's message, about that word. "We will call it Little Flame." 3 weeks later, walked outside the medical bay for the first time. Doctor said the containment was not needed anymore. The youngling needed to be around others, or it would have permanent mind damage. Wu said yes to supervise trips. The first trip was to the common area. It was Gamma Shift. Only a few crew members were there. Stayed close to. Its small clawed hand wrapped around her fingers. The crew members kept their distance. They watched with wonder and nervousness. "It is okay," said quietly. "No one here will hurt you." His eyes looked everywhere, taking in the bigger space. The sounds, the smells. When a door opened suddenly with a hiss, the youngling dropped low. It hissed back. Got down next to it right away. "Just a door," she said calmly. "Watch." She walked to the door, let it open and close many times. "See, not dangerous." Watched, then slowly relaxed. It was a small moment, but important. The youngling was learning to trust, learning to know what was dangerous and what was not. Over the next days, world got bigger. It made a routine. It followed during her work. It watched the crew do their jobs. The humans changed too. They learned not to move suddenly around the youngling, not to yell. They learned that would sometimes make a rumbling sound when happy, like a purr. And it loved the ship's windows. It spent hours watching the stars. Lieutenant started teaching the standard language, the galactic trade language everyone used. The youngling learned very fast. Its voice could make sounds humans had trouble with. In 1 week, spoke its first words. It said, pointing at the ensign, then looking at Wu, "Captain." "Yes," Wu said. He smiled even though he tried not to. "I am the captain, and you are." The youngling's head tilted. It repeated, testing the word, then softer, "Clan." The question hung in the air. Wu looked at his crew. He saw the same understanding on their faces. This was not just about keeping a child alive anymore, was asking if it belonged here. Yes, Wu said firmly, clan. But not everything was easy. 2 months after they found, something bad happened. It almost broke the trust they built. A new crew member joined the ship. His name was Ensign. He was young. No experience. He never saw before. When he turned a corner and saw face to face, his training took over. He pulled out his weapon. Drop it. His voice was like a whip crack. He was there in seconds, his own weapon pointed at now. But the damage was done. Saw the weapon, understood the threat. The youngling ran. It moved through the hallways so fast it shocked the crew. It took 3 hours to find, hidden in a maintenance shaft, shaking and making that crying sound again. Crawled into the shaft, she ignored the tight space. Hey, she whispered. Hey, little flame, it is okay. He did not know he was scared. I scared, said in broken standard. I monster. No, said, her voice was fierce. No, you are not a monster, you are a kid, and that person made a mistake. He will not do it again, I promise. She held out her hand. After a long time, took it. Ensign was put in his quarters. He could not leave. Later, Wu transferred him off the ship, but the incident left marks, not on the body, on the heart, became more quiet. It stayed close to Only and Wu. Doctor gave a warning. The youngling was having attachment problems. This was because of trauma. It needs stability, she said. And honestly, Captain, it needs more than we can give on a transport ship. Needs a home. Wu knew she was right, but where? The Conclave did not want the youngling. Earth services for alien children were too busy. They had no way to raise a predator species. The galaxy was big, but for a child there were no easy answers. One night Wu could not sleep. He went to the common area, was there. Curled up in blankets the crew gave it. The youngling stared out the window at space. It looked so small against all those stars. Cannot sleep, Wu asked. He sat down nearby. Dream, said, its standard was much better now. Mother ship fire. The youngling's claws moved against the blanket. Gone. I know, Wu said softly. I am sorry. Why you help? Asked suddenly. It turned those amber eyes on him. I not human, I predator, I dangerous. Wu thought carefully about the question. Do you know what makes humans different from other species? He asked. We are not the strongest, not the fastest, not even but we are stubborn, and we have this idea, this stupid idea that everyone deserves a chance, even scary predator kids. Made a sound that might be a laugh. Stupid, it agreed. Yeah, Wu smiled, stupid. They sat quiet, it was comfortable, they watched the stars together, finally spoke again. Its voice was small. I stay with clan. Wu's throat felt tight. He thought about all the rules, about his duty, about all the reasons why he should say no. Then he thought about a mother's last message, about hope and courage and trust. Yeah, he said, you can stay. The Mercy arrived at Terra Nova Station 6 months after rescuing. The station was huge, a wheel turning in space. Over 50,000 beings lived there, from 100 different species. It was humanity's gift to the galaxy, a place for trade, diplomacy, and culture. And as Wu learned from careful questions, it was home to the youth services, a program for taking care of orphaned or displaced children of all species. Doctor met them at the docking bay. She was in her 50s. She had kind eyes and was very calm. She looked like someone who had seen everything. She reviewed case over subspace communication. She agreed to do an evaluation. Captain Wu, she said hello. She shook his hand. Then she got down to level. And you must be, I heard a lot about you. Hid partly behind, it peeked out at the stranger. Who? It asked in good standard now. My name is, I help children who need families. Can we talk? The evaluation took 3 days. Doctor met with the crew. She looked at all the medical records, all the psychological data. On the 3rd day, she called Wu to her office. Captain, she started, I will be direct, By every standard measure, this youngling should be traumatized beyond recovery. Genocide survivor, complete clan loss, species isolation. Any one of these things would be devastating. All three together, we should see a very disturbed child. Wu's heart dropped, but is thriving, not perfectly. There are issues, certainly, attachment concerns, some aggression responses, nightmares. However, the strength this child has shown is remarkable. She leaned forward. Do you know why? The crew, Wu said quietly, they gave stability. More than that, they gave something culture does not typically provide: unconditional acceptance. No performance requirements, no strength tests, no proving worthiness, just care. Doctor pulled up charts on a holographic screen. Look at these interaction patterns, bonded mainly with ensign, but also shows strong attachment to you. Lieutenant, doctor, even first officer, this is not a single parent dynamic. It is communal. So what are you saying? I am saying that the youth services can provide shelter, education, proper food, but we cannot provide what already has, a family, a chosen clan. She sat back. Captain, I am not supposed to say this, but I have been doing this work for 20 years. Sometimes the best place for a child is not the most professional option. It is the one where they are loved. Wu stared at her. Are you suggesting? I am suggesting that if you and your crew are willing, we could arrange for to remain aboard the Mercy. Officially, the ship would be registered as a foster placement. I would conduct quarterly evaluations, would need to attend educational programs at stations you dock at, receive proper medical care, and have access to cultural resources. It is not a perfect solution, but it is a home, Wu finished. When he brought the idea to the crew, the vote was unanimous. Everyone agreed. Even who was skeptical at first about taking in a predator species spoke loudly for it. The kid is one of us now, he said simply. Clan takes care of its own. Telling was harder. The youngling was so anxious about the evaluation. It was convinced it would be sent away. When Wu and sat down with it in the common area, his whole body was tense. Am I leaving? It asked, voice small. No, said, tears were already in her eyes. No, little flame, you are staying if you want to. Looked between them. Disbelief and hope fought in its expression. Stay, forever. For as long as you want, Wu said. This is your home, we are your clan, that is not going to change. The youngling launched itself at them. It wrapped small arms around both their necks. It made that rumbling purr sound. Clan, it said, my clan. The years that followed were not easy. There were always challenges. Grew, as all children do, and with growth came problems. The youngling's strength increased very much. They had to modify living quarters, needed training and restraint. To control its power, there were incidents. A crew member got hurt accidentally during play. Equipment was destroyed during a tantrum. Moments when the predator nature was stronger than the child nature. But for every challenge, there was also joy. His first successful lesson in reading standard. The youngling's pride when it helped repair a broken power conduit. Its small claws were perfect for tight spaces. The day asked to learn traditional Korean cooking. It spent hours with Wu in the kitchen. They burned batch after batch of bulgogi. Finally, they got it right. By its third year aboard the Mercy had become an unofficial mascot. Everyone at Terra Nova Station knew about it. And beyond, other ships would ask permission to meet the human-raised. They were curious about this strange thing. News services ran features about it. Scientists who study minds wrote papers. But to the crew was simply family. On the anniversary of the rescue, 5 years after that day in the debris field, the crew held a small ceremony. They made it a tradition, a remembrance of lost clan, but also a celebration of the new one. Was now nearly adult size. Its scales had darkened to deep bronze black. It stood before the window. In its clawed hands was that data chip, carefully preserved. The youngling, not so young anymore, had listened to the message countless times over the years, finding new meaning with each replay. I think my mother would be happy, said. Its voice now had the deeper sound of maturity. It spoke perfect standard now, with only the slightest hiss on S sounds. That I survived, that I found a clan. More than happy, said. She stood beside her adopted sibling. She would be proud. Wu watched them. He felt the weight of years and decisions. He thought about rules he bent, protocols he ignored, risks he took. By every military standard, he probably violated a dozen codes. But looking at confident, educated, loved, he could not regret a single choice. Captain said, turning to him, I have been thinking about my future, about what comes next. Oh, Wu raised an eyebrow. I want to join the academy. I want to become an officer like you. The young's amber eyes burned with determination. I want to help other lost children, human, whatever species. I want to show them that being different does not mean being alone. Wu felt his throat tighten. He looked at who nodded with approval, then at Doctor who was openly crying. The academy is tough, he said carefully. They never had a cadet before. There will be prejudice, challenges, people who do not believe you belong. I know, said, but I learned something from you, from this crew, from my clan. The young stood tall. Humans have this saying, right? Try again. When something is hard, when you fail, when everyone says it is impossible, you just try again. Laughed through her tears. That is exactly what I said to you, that first day you ate. I remember, said softly. I remember everything, every kindness, every lesson, every moment someone chose to see me as a person instead of a monster. I want to pass that forward. The application to Academy was submitted 3 months later. The response took weeks. During that time, grew more anxious. It paced the corridors. It practiced standard until its pronunciation was flawless. It studied mathematics and physics and xenobiology. It trained in the ship's small gym until exhaustion. You will get in, assured it one evening. They sat together in the common area. You are the person I know. But I am, said. Its voice was quiet, uncertain. They might not want me. Then they are idiots, said from across the room. He was reviewing reports but had been listening. Any academy that would not take you is not worth attending. When the message finally arrived, the entire crew gathered in the conference room. Wu opened the communication. The holographic display showed Admiral Park, head of Academy admissions. She was an older woman with hair pulled back tight. Her face was stern. Captain Wu, she began, we have reviewed the application of the individual known as, she paused. The pause felt like forever. The Academy has never accepted an applicant. Our protocols are designed for species within the Federation Alliance. The Conclave is not part of that alliance. Shoulders dropped, grabbed its hand. However, the Admiral continued, we have also never seen an applicant with such unique qualifications. Test scores are exceptional. The letters of recommendation from your crew are compelling, and most importantly represent something we have always claimed to value, unity across species, understanding through diversity, she smiled. Just a little. The Academy Board has voted to accept as a probationary cadet. Pending successful completion of the first year, full cadet status will be granted. The room erupted, screamed and hugged tight. Doctor clapped, even allowed himself a rare smile, stood still, processing the information. Then tears began to fall from its amber eyes. I got in, it whispered. I actually got in. Of course you did, Wu said. His own eyes were wet. I never doubted it. The next 6 months were preparation, needed to be ready, not just academically, but emotionally, socially. The academy would be different from the ship, different from the small family it had known for 5 years. There would be hundreds of cadets, from dozens of species. Not all of them would be kind. Doctor from Terra Nova Station visited regularly. She worked with on coping strategies, on how to handle prejudice, on how to manage anger when someone said something cruel. You will be a target, she said gently during one session. Not because of anything you do wrong, but because you are different. Some people fear difference, some people hate it. How do I handle that? Asked. You remember who you are, where you came from, the people who love you. Doctor leaned forward. And you never let their fear become your shame. You are not a monster, you are a person, a good person. Do not let anyone tell you different. Also spent time learning about culture. Even though its clan was gone, Wu felt it was important to understand its heritage. They found a cultural consultant at Terra Nova Station, a merchant named who had left the conclave years ago. Was old, scales faded too, but his eyes were sharp. When he first saw, he went very still. Clan markings, he said softly. I thought they were all dead. They are, replied, except me. Studied the young for a long moment. Then he bowed his head, a gesture of respect. Your mother, was she matriarch? Breath caught, you knew her. I knew of her, she was famous, or infamous depending on who you asked. She fought for peace, for change. The conclave elders hated her for it, sat down. She was a hero, child, never forget that. Over the following weeks taught about history, about the clan structures, about the traditions and the language nuances the translator could not capture. He taught combat forms not for violence but for discipline, for control. Your strength is a gift, said during a training session, but uncontrolled strength is a danger to yourself and others. You must be the master of your body, not its slave. Absorbed everything. Like a sponge, it wanted to know, needed to know, where it came from, what it meant to be, even if it could never truly return to that world. The departure date arrived too quickly. The Mercy docked at Earth orbit. The Academy was located in San Francisco. On the planet below, would be going down. The crew would be going back to space. The goodbye was hard, harder than anyone expected. Cried openly. She hugged so tight the young had to gently push her away to breathe. I will miss you so much, said. Her voice broke. I will miss you too, replied. But I will visit, I promise. Every break, every holiday, I will come back. Doctor gave a medical kit. Just in case, she said. Your biology is still unique. If the Academy doctors have questions, they can contact me. Shook's hand. The gesture was formal, but his eyes showed emotion. Make us proud, kid. I will, promised. Finally, Wu stood before his adopted child. For a long moment, they just looked at each other. Then Wu pulled into a hug. The young was taller than him now, stronger. But in that moment, it was still the scared youngling he had found 5 years ago. Thank you, whispered, for everything, for seeing me, for giving me a chance, for being my clan. No, Wu said, his voice was thick. Thank you for trusting us, for trying again, for being brave enough to survive. They separated, picked up its bag. It contained everything it owned. Not much. Some clothes, the data chip with its mother's message, a picture of the crew, and a small metal pin, the insignia of the Mercy. Wu had given it that morning. So you remember where you came from, he had said. Walked to the airlock. At the threshold it turned back. One last look at the ship, at the crew, at its family. Try again, called out. It was what she always said, what she had said that first day. Smiled, showing teeth, not a threat, a genuine smile. Try again, it repeated. Then it stepped through the airlock and was gone. The crew stood in silence for a long time. Finally, Wu turned away. Back to stations, he said quietly. We have a delivery to make to the colony. But as the Mercy pulled away from Earth, Wu stood in the observation deck, watching the planet shrink. Somewhere down there was starting a new chapter, a new challenge, and Wu knew with absolute certainty that his child would succeed. Because that is what they did. They tried again. No matter how hard it was, no matter how many times they fell, they got back up, and they tried again. It was the most human thing in the universe, and had learned it well. The first day at Academy was chaos. Stepped off the shuttle onto the grounds and was immediately overwhelmed. Hundreds of cadets moved in every direction. Humans, yes, but also with their blue skin and antennae, with their pig-like faces. Vulcans with their pointed ears and serious expressions, and dozens of other species had only read about. But no other was alone again, different again. A human cadet bumped into. He looked up, then his eyes went wide. "Sorry, He backed away quickly, fear clear on his face. "It is okay," said, keeping its voice soft, non-threatening, no harm done. But the cadet was already gone, running, and others were staring now, whispering, pointing, felt its scales prickle, an instinctive response to threat. It forced itself to stay calm, to breathe. Remember what Doctor taught. Do not let their fear become your shame. A tall woman in an instructor's uniform approached. She had dark skin and sharp eyes. "Cadet?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am." "I am Commander. I will be your tactical instructor. Follow me." She led through the campus. The academy was beautiful. Old stone buildings mixed with modern architecture, trees and grass. A river running through the center. It looked like something from a painting. "You will face challenges here," Commander said as they walked. She did not look at, just kept moving forward. "Some cadets will not accept you. Some instructors will doubt you. That is the reality." "I understand," said. "Do you?" Now she stopped, turned to face directly. "Because I need to know if you can handle it, if you will break when things get hard. The academy does not have time for cadets who quit." Met her gaze, did not look away. "I will not quit, Commander. I know what hard is. I lost my entire clan when I was 6. I nearly starved to death. I had to learn to trust aliens who I was taught to fear. I built a new life from nothing." Its voice was steady, strong. "Whatever the academy throws at me, I can handle it." Commander studied for a long moment. Then she nodded, just once. "Good. Your quarters are in Building 7, Room 214. You have a roommate, a human named. Be there in 1 hour for orientation." The quarters were small but functional. 2 beds, 2 desks, a shared bathroom. One side of the room was already occupied. Pictures on the wall, books on the shelf, clothes in the closet. Put its bag on the empty bed and began to unpack. The door opened. A young human man entered. He was average height, slim build with nervous energy. He stopped when he saw, his mouth opened, closed, opened again. "Hi," he finally said. I guess we are roommates." "I am." "Yeah, I know, they told me." Set down his so. "Yes." "First one ever at the academy." "Yes." Nodded. A long silence stretched between them. Then he said, "Look, I am not going to lie. I am a little scared. I never met a before. And the stories, they say your people are dangerous." Appreciated the honesty. "I am dangerous," it said simply. "I am stronger than you, faster. I have claws and teeth designed to kill. These are facts." Swallowed hard. But continued, "I am also a person. I choose not to hurt others. I choose kindness when possible. I choose to control my instincts." It looked directly at, "You are safe with me. I promise." Studied, then he smiled, a little uncertain but genuine. "Okay, I believe you." He held out his hand. "Roommates." Took the hand carefully, aware of its claws. "Roommates." The first weeks were brutal. The academy curriculum was designed to push cadets to their limits. Physical training at dawn, classes all day, simulations in the evening, study late into the night, excelled at some things. Combat training was easy. Its natural abilities gave it an advantage. Xenobiology made sense. It understood what it was like to be different. But other subjects were harder. Interstellar law was complex. Engineering mathematics was challenging. And worst of all was the social dynamics. The other cadets kept their distance. In the dining hall, people avoided sitting near. In group projects, it was always picked last. Even the instructors treated it differently. With caution, with suspicion. Tried to help. He introduced to his friends. But the conversations were always awkward, forced. People did not know what to say to and did not know how to make them comfortable. One evening, 3 months into the term, sat alone in the quarters, was at a study group. The room felt empty. cold, pulled out its and composed a message to the Mercy. "Captain," it wrote, "I do not think I belong here. No one wants me. I am alone again. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I should come back." But it did not send the message. Instead, it played its mother's recording, the one it had listened to 1,000 times. "Find a new clan, little flame, one that will see you as a child, not as a weapon." Had found that clan, the crew of the Mercy, but they were not here, and it had to make it on its own. Strength is not only in claws, it is in the courage to trust. Deleted the unsent message. It stood up. Tomorrow there would be another combat simulation, another chance to prove itself. It would not give up, it would try again. The turning point came during a field exercise in the 4th month. The cadets were divided into teams for a survival scenario. They were dropped in a forest region with minimal supplies. The goal was to reach a checkpoint 50 kilometers away, in 3 days. Was assigned to Team 7, with and 3 other cadets, a human woman named, and male named, and a Vulcan woman named Tease. None of them looked happy about having on their team. The first day went poorly. The team argued about direction, about strategy, tried to contribute but was mostly ignored. That night they made camp in a clearing. They were cold, hungry, and nowhere near the checkpoint. "We are going to fail," said. Her voice was defeated. "We covered maybe 10 kilometers today. At this rate we will never make it." "The terrain is difficult," Tease observed, "and we lack experience working together." "Because we do not trust each other," said bluntly. He looked at when he said it. Stood up. "You are right. You do not trust me, I understand, but we will fail if we do not work together. So here is what I propose. Give me tomorrow. Let me lead. If I am wrong, if I make things worse, you can ignore me for the rest of the exercise." "And if you are right," asked, "then maybe you will see I am not your enemy." The team exchanged glances, finally shrugged. "Fine, we are losing anyway. What do we have to lose?" The next morning took charge. It used its natural hunting instincts to read the terrain, to find the path of least resistance. It climbed trees to scout ahead. It found water sources. It showed the team how to move quietly through the forest, how to conserve energy. By evening they had covered 30 kilometers, more than the previous day. The team was tired but impressed. "How did you know about the river?" asked as they set up camp. "I listened," said. "Water makes a sound, you just have to hear it." "And the shortcut through the canyon?" "I climbed the tree, saw the geography, made a guess." Looked at them. "This is what do we hunt, we track, we survive. These instincts are useful, not just dangerous." On the 3rd day they reached the checkpoint with hours to spare. They were the 2nd team to arrive. When they crossed the finish line, actually hugged. "We did it," she shouted. "We actually did it." Even Tease raised an eyebrow, which for a Vulcan was like smiling. That night back at the academy something changed. The team went to the dining hall together. They sat together and others noticed. Slowly, gradually, more cadets began to talk to ask questions, not about violence or danger, but about culture, about experience, about what it was like to be the only one. Made friends, real friends, not just though he remained closest, but also who was studying xenobiology and found physiology fascinating, and who appreciated its directness. Even Tease admitted that logic was adequate. The academic year ended. Results were posted, had passed, not just passed, excelled, top 10% of the class. The probationary status was lifted. It was now a full cadet. Commander called to her office on the last day. "Sit," she said. Sat.